What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back outside Via Moto, Honda, Aprilia, Piaggio, Motor Guzzi today in Sheffield. Since my last video that I did on the Tuono 1100 factory, if you've not seen that, look up here. I've had so many different comments about that bike, wanting me to test the non-factory version. Some people have been referring to it as a touring version, but it's not called a touring version. It's just got some touringable options on it. I think it's the best way of saying it. So Via Moto very kindly managed to loan me their demo bike today. So what do you think of this? So we'll do a walk around of it later, but we'll do my usual thing. We'll go and give it a test ride, give you some first impressions. There's a few changes on this to make it a bit more palatable for the road, or a bit more easy to use on the road, a bit more easy to use two-up for touring, etc. But I'll run through all that as we're going. But yeah, let's get out and see how it goes. Right, so standard format, initial impressions. Then we'll go and ride it a bit. I'll give you some more educated opinion. We'll do a walk round, then I'll do a wrap up after I've done a fair few miles on this thing. It's brand new, so I can't give it too much hammer out of respect. But first impressions are, just literally driven out of the dealership, it's comfier than the last one. It feels more super naked. I made a comment when I rode the last Tuono that the sort of previous model one was too much RSV4 and not enough Tuono, and for a super naked I didn't think that was right. I wanted something a bit more comfortable but still wild, and the new Tuono addressed that with slightly higher bars, bigger seat, and this has gone another step, and this feels gorgeous, so comfortable. So this has got higher bars now, it's got a taller screen, which I'll tell you in a bit. What else has it got? It's got grab rails on the bike, nice pillion seats. You don't get that tail unit, but you get a nice pillion seat and better pillion foot pegs. You also get the option for touring. If you look at the B-roll slow-mo that I did, there's some touring tie-down hook points on there as well. What else is different to the factory? So you get a more road orientated 190 section rear wheel rather than a 200 section. That said, if you want to calibrate for a 200 section rear wheel, you can. Slightly more road based tyres. Can't remember the model, I'll have a look for you. You know I'm like, I'm not very detailed. And the only other difference is it doesn't have the electronic suspension, but it's got fully adjustable sack suspension. I think they're the main differences. But first impressions are comfortable, super comfortable. I'm sat more upright. The bar, this little bit of extra height on the bars, has made a big difference in comfort. The seat feels nice for my fat arse as well. Everything else, just riding away now, feels pretty similar. So it's the same dashboard, same build quality feel, same engine. Careful on here, it's 30. Which this little section is 30. Gary told me once before. I used to think it was 50 like the rest of it. Yeah, it's got the same dashboard, setup, etc. Same electronics, obviously, other than the suspension. It's still got a fuel gauge. And yeah, I think I incorrectly referred to this as the touring, quote unquote. on a previous video, and it isn't. It's just some people are referring to it as the touring version or the touring model because you can get some luggage hooks on it and the bars are higher. Oh yes, it's still got that Tuono noise. So yeah, the factory bits they're not really performance improving, other than obviously the electronic suspension, which for a road bike is debatable whether you're really going to get to the limits of that enough for it to be a performance enhancement. Some people might do, but they're probably lying. But really, this feels beautiful, and I love this matte white paint as well. It's a real wolf in sheep's clothing, this. You know, you pull up next to somebody at the lights on one of these, and they're not really going to think too much. They'll see the grab rail and, you know, foot pegs and a bit of luggage on. They'll probably think, oh. But then, oh, Jesus. Some people were slating me on my Tuono video because I was just like screaming and giggling and being slightly less than mature, and I'm not going to make any apologies for that, because oh my god, because that's genuinely how this bike made me feel. You watch something like my NCX video and, you know, I was a bit more reserved and a bit more conservative, shall we say, and detailed, because that's really what that bike is, you know. But it's not a, you know, you don't buy it for fun. Petrol lights on again, Gary, fuck me. Spend more in petrol filling Viamoto's bikes up than I do on my own. But yeah, but this, it just, the Tuono, the factory at least, this is to be confirmed, but it certainly feels like it, just makes you feel like that. It just twist the throttle and it's just, wah. Everything else feels great. The quick shifter auto blipper is really nice, pretty smooth. Brembo brakes, oh yeah, they work. So yeah, I did a really in-depth detail review on the factory. Look up here again, and like I say, I suspect that there's going to be a lot of similarities on there. So if I do repeat myself a bit, that's why. But people wanted to know about this one, right? And I think whatever people say privately, this is probably going to be the correct choice for a very large percentage of people who want to buy a Tuono. You know, they're going to want to do big miles. Oh, it turns in lovely. Oh! Oh! This is a new bike, so I can't give it the red line really. Jesus, that's nice. I went so far as to say that the factory model that I rode is probably the best bike that I've ever ridden, all-round bike. I really want one of them. If you only could have one bike, that factory model's, it's got to be in your top 2 or 3 bikes to choose from. And this one sort of takes all that. Yeah, it's not lost any of that character so far. That screen's actually nice. I can definitely feel a difference with that screen. So yes, those are my first impressions. Way similar to the other one in almost every way, but just feels more comfortable, which is a good thing, right? Oh, by the way, just before I finish on that, big thanks to Viamoto again for supporting me and lending me this bike. I really appreciate those guys. I'll speak to Gary if you're in the market for a new bike, or even if you're not, because he's quite convincing with his deals, I must say. But also, I wanted to shout out, while I'm on the subject, Steve in their clothing department. They've got such a fantastic clothing department. Oh, my God! Sorry, it just makes you do that. They've got a great clothing department there, and I was just talking to Steve earlier before I took this away. And they're just taking on a new range of helmet manufacturers. They've got a full range of HJC helmet as well. They've got all the Alpine Stars gear in there. They've got all the sort of the Rucker gear in there, which is like the Rolls Royce of motorcycle clothing. You really want to go and check out that brand if you've never heard of them like I hadn't. Big shout out to them. Again, you know, I'm not sponsored by them. They lend me a bike, I make a video. So yeah, they're a good bunch. Right, I'm going to go and ride this now and be very well behaved on it, and I'll report back later. Right, do we still get fizzy knickers when we walk back up to this? I think the answer is yes, although I'm not going to lie, it's not as sporty looking as the factory. Those internal sort of inbuilt wings are gorgeous. The back end's alright, the back end's not as pretty, but to be fair, that is a lovely looking bike, and if you're going to take a pillion on there, it doesn't get much better than that. Right, let's go and ride this around for a bit, and then we'll go and do some different sorts of roads on it, and I'll come back to you later and give you some sort of more measured, balanced approach. But for now, I mean, other than the comfort, which is a bit more, it feels exactly the bloody same as a factory, which is a brilliant thing, by the way. Right, so I've been on this for a while now, I've got a bit more of an opinion, and just to give you some thoughts on it really. I think it's quite an easy video to make, because to be blunt, there's very, very little difference between this and the factory, certainly from the rideability point of view. It's same engine, same electronics. It doesn't have the Öhlins electronic suspension, but the suspension feels absolutely gorgeous and plush. It's fully adjustable, so again, you know, what might feel gorgeous to me might not for somebody, but it's just a click or two away. The dashboard and everything's the same. I'll do a walk round in a bit, and I'll show you. But it feels the same. It's absolutely. It just is. It just makes you scream, like, it just makes you howl with laughter, because it's just so ridiculously fast. The gearing's shorter than the RSV4, and you can feel it. The punch out of corners. It's just wanting to lift the front wheel every time in every gear. It's just mental, but like in a cool mental way. But then you've got, you know, tourability on this model. With the higher bars, comfier seat, the raised bigger pillion section, and the lower pillion foot pegs, you've got like an almost perfect touring bike. And you know, manners around town now are absolutely impeccable. I think the shorter gearing helps that as well. You know, just cruising around now, with the exception of self-cancelling indicators, which I think that if they are, they take forever. You know, you've got cruise control. All the electronics, the same uprated electronics. So you've obviously got traction, ABS, anti-wheelie, all that kind of stuff, cornering ABS. But just cruising around town now, the throttle in particular is absolutely gorgeous. You know, there's no jerkiness, there's no hesitation. You can just chug around in second gear. You know, you can really do big miles, and I said that about the other one. You could do big miles on the factory, but this is just that touch more comfortable. This is just that touch more road orientated, slightly better road manners, you know, a touch more comfortable, but enough to make a difference if you were going to be using this for touring. But trust me when I tell you, and I'll show you when we get on some twisters in a bit, this thing is negligible in handling. I mean, it's got a 190 section rear, and I'm not sure I can tell. I'm not, you know, Mick Doohan or Marc Marquez by any stretch of the imagination, but I can ride a bit these days, and you know, I can't tell a great deal of difference. This comes in a white like this. It's a matte white. Not the biggest fan of matte paint, if I'm honest, but if you're going to have matte white, it's the colour to have matte in. It's the one that will show the marks the least. and they also do, I think it's called tarmac, which is like a grey colour. I'll put them on screen now. Ping! But other than that, the specs are pretty much the same. Same engine, 175 horsepower. It doesn't feel any different, to be honest, to ride. It literally just feels like a slightly more comfortable factory, which is the biggest compliment I can pay this bike, because I said that bike was probably the best bike I'd ever ridden, and this is just a shade more comfortable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and run it around now and go and do some twisties, but we'll go and do a walk around first. I'll let you have a look at the bike, and then I'll go and do some twisties and just see if I can find this thing out as to where the real differences are with this in the factory, in some of the bends, which is where I'm likely to find out any shortcomings that it might have. Right. Let's have a walk around of this, see what you think. I'm very aware that looks are subjective and what one person thinks the other doesn't, but that front end is way better. I think the screen makes it look less sporty and maybe less attractive to some. I don't know, but it does help. It helps a lot, actually. The wind, I'm 6 foot tall, 17, 18 stone nearly, and you can feel it deflecting it over the top of you, which is really good. I love those LED lights and those wings. I love how that whole front end now is put together. It looks, whereas the previous models, I call them ugly. I didn't mean it, I'm just obviously joking. I don't think the older model Tuono was quite as good looking as this. Everybody's different, don't get your knickers in a twist. But this, with those sort of inbuilt moulded wings, I think is absolutely stunning. I really think that front end is a masterpiece, genuinely. You've got fully adjustable sack suspension. You can see here, Brembo brakes, same as the factory version. The Brembo brakes are phenomenal. You've got that MotoGP inspired underslung swing arm again, which is cool as F. Look at that, really nice. That exhaust, a lot said about that not being Aprilia this time. Sounds better. Say what you like, I think that sounds better than the 2020 model, and I own a 2020 model RSV4, so you know, I'm what's the word I'm looking for? I'm able to say. Now this is your main sort of difference looks wise. Obviously you don't have that sleek tail unit here, but you've got this, which is a generous pillion pad. Even my missus's backslide would fit on there. I'm joking, don't tell her I said that. And these grab rails, you know, this is, if you're going to take a pillion, and let's be honest, a lot do, then that's actually not a bad looking thing. You've got more ergonomically spacious rear foot pegs here for the pillion, touring hook for tying down your touring stuff. Like I said before, 190 section rear on this, which is a bit more road based. And you've got the Diablo Rosso 3s, I believe, yeah, the Rosso 3s on this, which is a slightly more road based type.
Right, one thing to add, the price difference between the factory and the non-factory is £3,000, so 15 and change and 18 and change. Whether you see the value in the extra bits and bobs you get on the factory over the non-factory, it's up to you. £3,000 is a lot of money. Not sure what I'd do. Just thought I'd point that out there.
Let me show you the dashboard again for anybody who's not familiar with it. So this is the new one. So you've got 3 modes: Sport, User, Tour. User is obviously configurable to however you want it. Let me show you. Some mode. You can go into race. So those are your road-based modes. Excuse me. So you've got Sport, Tour, and user in road. And then if you go into race, and then back out again, now you've got track 1, track 2, and then race. You just use these arrows here, put it into road. You can change your shift light, quick shifter, calibration, cruise control. You can set what that is for. Go back, change the display, change the dashboard. That's just changing your clocks. Right, so if you look on here, so now you can change. If you look across on Touring and Sport, they're greyed out. You can't change them. So you've got here AEM, which is your engine management, power basically, engine braking. I like that on 1. Excuse me, hang on. Change your engine braking again. Traction, anti-wheelie, launch control, and ABS. Right, what we'll also do is do the race ones as well. So now here, look, you can change the track 1 to however you want it, but track 2, yeah, so 1 and engine map 1 must be the most powerful, because track 2 is set to that, engine braking set there, and then race is set a bit in the middle. So that, but you can also pre-configure the track, so you can pre-configure user and track, which is pretty cool. And you can turn off anti-wheelie independently of traction as well. Haha. Thus is the beauty of the new electronics package. Pretty cool. Right, so that's pretty much all the interesting stuff you need to see on the dashboard. Let's finish this off by going and hitting some twisties in user mode with engine map 1, and then we'll see how this bad boy feels. Right, let's go and see how this beast handles. Right, it's a pretty bumpy road. Engine map, my god, and he wheelie kicked in there. Holy sugar balls. I turns from side to side pretty nice. Try not to over rev it because it's new. Turns in a touch slower, I think, than the Tuono factory, but not a lot. Feels steady as a rock. Let's drop it in here and see what this one's like. It feels nimble underneath me. Yeah, nothing wrong with that turning. For a quote unquote, oh wow, yeah, for a quote unquote touring bike, I'm just being careful because of the crap on the roads. This has got some skills, this bike. Brakes are phenomenal as well, astounding brakes. Crap on the road again. Alright, well, I'm sold. Okay, that handled better than I thought. If anything, if I had to be hypercritical, it may be turned in a touch slower than the factory. I don't think so. There's not a lot in it. Right, I'm going to go and ride this a bit more and just gather my thoughts, and then we'll sum it up now. Right, where do we start wrapping this up then? So look, this is a first impression ride, I guess, but not, because I spent quite a lot of time on the factory, and as I've probably said a couple of times already in this video, it's almost identical to the factory, to where I'm sat now to ride it, other than the bar's a bit higher, the seat feels a little bit comfier, and it just feels a slightly more upright and comfortable, to be honest, more pleasant actually, position. Not that the factory felt unpleasant, and the factory itself is slightly more comfortable than the old model, so just depends on what you want. If you're going to do a lot of road riding, possibly some touring, and certainly if you're going to take a pillion, then this is, you know, it's a no-brainer. I mean, the pillion pad and the foot peg position for the pillions, and obviously the grab rail, make this a really good option. But you know, if it's just for normal touring and riding around, then this is certainly a comfier version with a more comfortable screen. But the trade-off is it's slightly less sporty looking. Now, I'll tell you one thing for free, it ain't slightly less sporty feeling. You still get that absolutely rapid engine, which, because of the gearing difference, the shorter gearing on than the RSV4, it feels faster on the road. I mean, for what you can do on the road, this definitely feels faster. That RSV4 is an animal, and again, look up here if you haven't seen that review, but this feels faster. It absolutely fires out of corners, so it's the same engine, same electronics package, so you've got the multi-axis IMU, so you can switch off anti-wheelie and leave traction on, for example. Build quality, again, same as the factory, it's just gorgeous, it's beautiful. You know, Aprilia really do know how to make a special feeling bike. The throttle is stand out, again, as it is on the old one, but the connection between your hand and the throttle is almost, it's seamless. Well, it is seamless, not almost seamless, it just is completely seamless. There's no jerkiness. The gearbox is absolutely beautiful, never misses a beat, super smooth, quick shifter, auto blipper, gorgeous. The brakes are phenomenal. I don't know whether it's just this one, but this particular example's brakes feel better than the factory model that I rode. Probably just this one's brand new, maybe not been ridden at all, but the brakes are just absolutely, you know, they'll pull your eyeballs out of the socket. The looks of it, again, you know, you tell me, what do you think? Get in the comments and let me know how you think about the looks of it. I certainly think that you trade off a bit of the sexy sportiness with this version, but look, do you want that sort of thing? The front end, the new front end, the LED lights, and just the way it's all put together with the wings is just, I think, is class leading. Yeah, I really do. Trying to think what else to tell you. Yeah, so suspension. So I've been doing lots of different riding. I'm on a motorway or a freeway, whatever you want to call it. Doing 60, 70 now. Wind buffeting's good. I've been doing fast sweepers. You've just seen me do some twisties on some really crappy bumpy roads. This is the non-adjustable suspension, but can I really tell any difference? No. It's really, really compliant. It potentially tips in a little bit slower, but I guess, you know, with adjustable suspension you can dial in however you want to ride it, really. You might want to jack up the bit of preload in the rear and you know, whatever you want. You can get this to turn in quicker if that's the sort of bike you want, but from a just sort of general riding around, the comfort and compliance is really well balanced with the handling. Feels rock solid in the bends, and I could not really tell much of a difference in handling, i.e. it handles amazing. Can I find fault with it? There are better dashboards, that's updated, but there are better ones. I'm not a mad fan of this anodized frame. It can be a little bit tricky to look after if you get marks on it, but again, I'm being nitpicky. I try not to be too gushing about bikes, but Aprilia just sort of do it for me, and certainly these Tuonos now. People accuse me of being like biased or sponsored or something from Moto. Trust me, I'm really not. I don't get anything from them. It's just, you know, they lend me a bike here and then. I get a bit of content, they get a bit of exposure. But if something's not great, I'll say it. And this is, yeah, pretty special. Now the question that everybody's going to ask me in the comments is going to be, would you buy this over the factory? Haha, what is better? I might even title the video that, just to clickbait you all. Which is best? There's no answer to that, really. It just depends on what you want and what you're going to use it for. In all but very small fractions, it's the same bike. It's just this has got a few more options and creature comforts if you were going to do some touring or some pillioning, and conversely the factory has got a few more trinkets if you're really going to be pushing it to the next level. But broadly speaking, it's the same bike. It feels as exciting, it's as raucous, and the exhaust is nice. Everything else feels nice about it. It's just a bit more comfortable, to be honest, and you can stick a pillion and some luggage on. So there is no answer to what's the best. They are both the best. I still stand by that. I think the Tuono up to date is probably in both forms probably the best bike I've ever ridden, and I genuinely mean that. And the choice is just needs to be, do you want to take a pillion and have a little bit more comfort, or you're not bothered and you'd rather have a, you know, slightly sportier looking one with a electronic suspension to tell your mates down at the pub that you can feel working when you really can't. So yeah, what a bike. Aprilia have knocked it out of the park with this. I don't think there's a hyper or super naked or whatever you want to call it on the market today that can run with this. That's for damn sure. Yeah, great job. Right, thanks very much. Big thanks again to Gary at Via Moto. And those guys there, they've really been helpful. Look at the state of this Bentley. They've really been helpful with the channel and loaning me bikes, so I appreciate that. If you want to support the channel, you can head over to Patreon. There's lots of behind the scenes content there, early access to stuff. One guy's just won, I do a 6 monthly prize draw for a free track day or off-road day. David won the last one, so well done to you, David. You still not let me know where you want to go, by the way. I think he just wants to ride to Skegness, which is fine if you want. Well, it's up to you. So yeah, head over to Patreon. You can support me on there, and if not, just drop a like on the video, that'd be great. And if you want to see more content, I'd be really appreciative if you hit the subscribe button as well. So yeah, all that said, what a machine. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.